Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How have you been?
I've been very well, thank you.
Thank you for coming, and we are flattered to interview you. My first question would be, would you please introduce yourself and your career path? Why and how did you become a special envoy on water?
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Meike van Ginneken. I'm the water envoy for the Netherlands. And as a water envoy, I represent the Netherlands as a water country overseas. So I make sure we share our knowledge, but we also learn from other countries. My career path is that I'm a water engineer by training, long time ago. I studied in Delft. And then I started working on WASH. I started working with Doctors Without Borders on sanitation and water supply in refugee camps. From there I went to the World Bank, worked on water, big infrastructure investments, but also reforms and economic things and governance and finance. And since then I work for the Dutch government. I started in August because they were looking for somebody that could connect the Netherlands with the rest of the world. And I'd worked overseas for my whole career, but with this job I can connect back with my own country, the Netherlands.
Do you like diplomacy / mixing with water?
I like diplomacy, I like water, I also like action. So I like going to these big events, but I think the real action is in between, on the ground. So I always appreciate it when I can do bilateral visits and I can visit projects, because the real action is on the farm level, at the city level, at the basin level, and also at the national level.
Thanks. It's an interesting path. Is it your first time in Dushanbe?
It's my first time in Dushanbe. It's even my first time in Central Asia. I've traveled a lot. I've worked a lot in Asia, in Africa, Latin America. But Central Asia is a very big part of the world that I've never been to. So I'm really curious to see the city, to see the country.
And what is your expectation from this upcoming conference?
Look, these conferences are important milestones to take track of where we are. 15 months ago, together with Tajikistan, the Netherlands organized the UN Water Conference, and 800 commitments were made for the water action agenda. What I really look forward to hear is how we are doing on that water action agenda. What's the action that has been taken? What are the results that have been achieved? And I know from traveling around the world that we are in the era of water action, that people are working, that we're really becoming a water movement. So I'm looking forward to see my old friends, make new friends, and really keep working on action, keep working on Sustainable Development Goal number 6.
Great. And maybe you will tell our audience, what is actually SDG 6?
SDG 6, SDG is an acronym for Sustainable Development Goals. It's a number of goals that the whole world under the United Nations agreed upon for sustainable development, to end hunger, to end poverty, and to really make sure we live in harmony with the planet. There's a number of goals under that, and SDG 6 is our goal. It's the goal on water supply and sanitation. So it is to make sure everybody has safe water, to make sure people have access to sanitation, but also very importantly to make sure that we manage our water resources well. Because with climate change, water resources management is becoming more important.
Thank you. And what is the role of Netherlands on acceleration of SDG 6?
The role of the Netherlands is multifold, and I think it's always important to realize that we work with others. The Netherlands by itself, of course, is taking care of SDG 6 in our own country. We have good water and sanitation services, but managing our water resources under climate change remains a challenge. And besides, we work with partners with multilateral agencies such as UNICEF, but also bilaterally with other countries on making sure that people around the world have access to water supply and to sanitation. We do this through overseas development aid, so through giving money, but we also do this through sharing our knowledge. We have a lot of knowledge on water management in the Netherlands, and we really like to work with other countries to make sure we share that knowledge. And when we do that, we actually also learn a lot from other countries, because we know certain things and other countries know other things. So working together makes water management and water services better in all the countries we work in.
Thank you. And in your opinion, what is the role of youth in policy discussions and decision-making role in water and climate arena?
Yeah. When you ask that question, it always makes me feel old, because I'm not a youth anymore, but I think the role of youth is very important. Because we do this, water management is a very long-term issue. What we do now on water supply, on sanitation, on water resource management has an impact not for 1 year, not for a decade, but has an impact for 50 years or for 1 century. So we need youth to think about and to help to define their future. We do that through involving youth in a lot of projects, but also in our policy making. Let me give you an example. In the Netherlands, we have a Delta program, which is a program on flood protection, because we're such a low-lying delta. And actually every year our Delta Commissioner talks to a lot of youth before defining the Delta program. And what we're going to do now is actually do a generation test for the Delta program. So every time there's planning for water resources in the Netherlands, there's actually a specific text to see what will this mean for the next generation. But I also think overseas, involving youth and the innovation that youth brings is very important. Another example of a Dutch program for this overseas is a program called Wave Makers, where we actually see youth movement where youth from one country goes to another country, and there in universities, among young professionals, creates a new youth group that actually advocates for water management with their local leaders, with their community leaders, with their professors, with their national government. So I think this kind of movement, where youth really take an active role in speaking out and saying what they want, how they want the water world to see in 20 years' time, is what we really need to do. And I'm happy to see that's more and more common in many countries.
Thank you. I've heard actually about Wave Makers.
Very
and
good.
We were involved when we were going to UN 2023 Water Conference.
Good. Do you have Wave Makers here in Tajikistan?
Yes, it's me.
It's you. Look. Very nice. Yeah.
So I've heard about them too. Very strong movement.
Yeah.
And this and another last interactive question. If you could be a water superhero, what kind of power you would have to solve one main water issue? And what would be your name as a superhero?
That's good. My name would be Water Girl, because I think it's important to not only involve youth but also to involve women. And I'm very happy that I see more and more women at these conferences. But I still think that we really need to involve women at all levels, at the community level, the national level and the international level. And my superpower would be to bring people to the table. Water is something you need to cooperate on. We need to, in international basins, we need to bring countries together. In communities, we need to bring youth, women and men together to think about sanitation. In national governments, we need to involve the Minister of Finance. So I would like to have a power that, people come to the table, because once they're at the table, we know how to convince them to deal with water issues. But very often, we're too much dealing with the water bubble, and we really need to bring everybody to the table, from the energy sector, from the agricultural sector, the Minister of Finance, mayors from cities, farmers, and I hope that with that superpower I can just bring everybody to the table and talk about water and come up with solutions.
That's a great name, Water Girl.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the interview. This has been interesting to get to know you, and good luck, and I hope you will like Tajikistan and as a conference as well.
Thank you very much, and I realize we already have another Water Girl here, so let's be superheroes together.
Thank you.